What do you get when you combine entertainment, corporate life, and a family man? You get Shawn Conrad, and that's who I have today on the show. So tune in and get ready to not only have fun, but to walk away with something that's going to help you.
Welcome to Advance with Mike Acker, the podcast designed to help entrepreneurs, business leaders, and professionals alike break through barriers by improving their practical leadership skills and increasing confidence in speaking. Your host is a best-selling author, executive coach, and founder of the Advance Public Speaking School and Advantage Publishing Group, two companies dedicated to providing an edge for leaders. Find out more about Mike at mikeacker.com. Now here's your host, Mike Acker.
Shawn, thank you so much for being on the show with me today. I'm excited to not only be with you and talk with you, but really to allow the audience to hear so much of what you have to say. So thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to it.
Now, we connected a while back and I got to hear some of the entertaining stories that you have. And I mean, you just are full of entertaining stories. And even before we started the official interview, you shared with me some really cool things. But before I get totally distracted and go in all kinds of directions, let's start at the beginning. Your whole career started in music. So take us back, and regale us with a little bit of your past music career.
Absolutely. So back in the day, I used to be label mates with Queen Latifah, De La Soul, and Digital Underground on Tommy Boy Records. I was rapping in my neighborhood as a young teen, met up with a producer, Jerry Callender, and he got me a deal with Tommy Boy. I put a record out. At the time, the record did not have a video, so it didn't really gain a lot of popularity. But later that year, I joined the World Championship Rap Contest, and I won. So after that, life changed instantly for me. I was on tour with Ice Cube and Too Short and D Nice and Kid Rock. And then later on, I did music with Jay-Z. I rapped with the Notorious B.I.G. And I really became what they call an influencer for other rappers at that time. Because of the lack of promotion and lack of videos in certain situations, I didn't end up having #1 records on the radio or anything like that, but I definitely influenced people like Redman, Busta Rhymes, Keith Murray, and all these rappers who knew about me and my skill set after winning the World Championship.
That's incredible. And now you're a public speaker, among other things, and that's something that you do. And I love that you get to even bring in some of these stories and you get to use it to add some flair to that. But it really, now that you're a speaker, speaking to great audiences, it really goes way back to when you were young. How old were you when you started rapping in front of these groups? And how old were you when you won the championship?
So I started rapping probably when I was about 12 years old or so. A cousin of mine gave me a tape of him rapping. And this was when I used to roller skate as a kid. You go to the roller skating rinks, and I memorized my cousin's rap. And we had a local radio station come to our skating rink, and the DJ got on the mic and said, "We're gonna do a little rap contest, and whoever wins this free bike." And I was like, I wanna join. And I went up there, did my cousin's rap, and I won the contest. I won a free bike.
Did you have to share the bike with him?
I didn't get to share it with him, but that was the beginning.
Yeah.
And then when I won the World Championship, I won when I was 21 years old. And again, I went from landing a deal, which was great. I have this record deal. I can hear myself on the radio. But when I won the contest, I was instantly on Yo MTV Raps, doing interviews at BET. Like I said, touring with Ice Cube and Too Short. Things were just happening very fast. Every rap magazine that was on the shelves, I had an article in there. So yeah.
And I love that you still bring that in depending on the engagement you're speaking at, you still bring in some rap to what you do as part of the entertainment aspect, which is a lot of fun. And I can't do that when I'm speaking to a group as a keynoter. There's no ability for me to do any rap, not because, well, just because I can't. There's no ability.
Okay, right.
So when you and I first met a couple months ago, I went online and I Googled you because I was just curious, and I had seen some rap, and there's a documentary out about you. And really there's a lot about your whole entire ability to influence others. And that's what you've done. Not only did you influence people in the rap industry, and that was really great. And for all the listeners, check out Shawn Conrad, Freshco. But not only that, you have been a huge part of obviously your kid's life in a very intentional way. And you told me how important fatherhood and parenting is to you. So give us a little bit about how you can be present with your family in midst of all that you do.
Well, when I was kind of in the middle of my rap career, at the time, it wasn't this billion-dollar machine that we have now with hip hop and rap. And I was famous, but I wasn't wealthy. And one of the decisions I made, even though I was in the music industry and influencing all these people, was that I want to be a great dad. And my first daughter was being born, and I said, I'm going to make sure that I'm there and I'm doing my part to raise her and make sure that she has memories of me being in her life and not on the road. It was very important to me. And, since then, I have all girls. I have 3 daughters. And throughout everything that I've done since then, it's always about legacy, and it's about when they are telling their stories as young adults and adults, or at the workplace, or at functions, that story should be a good story, a story that's inspiring. I was with my dad. He took the time to do this with me. I remember he was the first one to do this. I think that story can be told even when we're in entertainment, or we're busy working on software, or we work for these Fortune 500 companies. You can still organize your life such that you are building a very important legacy for your children, and they understand importance and priority.
I love that. And it really is about that prioritization, and that what is it that you really value, and you show what you value by what you prioritize.
Absolutely.
And even though you didn't say this, there's a lot about a sacrifice there. You sacrifice what had been a dream, what had been something that you were getting lots of praise from, for something that was not tangible in the moment, in the sense of you're not getting any praise back, but you knew that it'd be worth it to invest in their lives. And I know that's even one of the things that you speak on when you go to talk to audiences. You even talk about parenting and such.
Absolutely. There's times where I'm intentional about putting things into my talks that make people have perspective, right? You go to work and you work on these big projects, right? Or as I say, you go to make the donuts, but there's also tomorrow, right? To continue making donuts, right? And you have to weigh, like, okay, while I'm here, right? You go 100%, you go 110%, but you have to pull away, right? And embrace things that matter long term, regardless of what company you're with, right? It's almost like a refresher. So you get refreshed from your family or people who love you and who truly care about you. You get refueled so you can come back to work the next day and perform at 110%. You can't do that if you're constantly, there is no love, there's no you don't miss what you do. You have to walk away for a moment and then say, I'm refueled, I'm ready to go back and do this thing 110%. So that family and the people who love you and who you're surrounded with is very important. And I dash that in there as I do my talks.
I love that. It's so important. A lot of the clients that I work with are these like high-powered CEOs who are doing incredible things. And it's hard to sometimes maintain that balance. But what you're even talking about here is that when you have that family dynamic, it ends up really creating more power in your own workforce. So sometimes people think they got to work harder in order for them to get more, but actually, if you work smarter by investing in your family, that you get further faster.
Absolutely. It allows you to, the time you spend with your family or people you love, or the time you step away and take that vacation or that 3-day weekend, and you see something that inspires you, you go back to work saying, oh man, I'm ready to elevate, in what I'm doing. I'm ready to take it to the next level. Again, if we're doing something and we master it at work, right? Some people feel like, well, that's it. I don't have to do anything else. I know everything that I'm supposed to do. But I always encourage people to think about, okay, what is the next level of what you do? Even if your company's not doing it yet, right? What would be the next level? And you can bring that to your superior or your supervisor and say, I've been looking into X, Y, and Z. It's something we can do. I know about it, right? And now you're lifting yourself all from maybe a 3-day vacation you took with your family because you stepped away. You come back motivated. So I think it's very important to find that balance. And one more thing that I'll add is, for people struggle to find balance, and this is another thing that I talk about when I speak. A friend of mine told me that when he studies his craft, he does it when they go to bed. When his wife goes to bed and his kids go to bed, he doesn't, right? He spent these 4 to 5 hours after work with them. They watched the show, they had dinner, and at about 11 o'clock or so, for 1 hour every evening, he learns something new. Wow. And then he goes to bed. Just about an hour, he said, but he does it every day. Wow. So when he's at work, he's like a rock star.
Yeah.
People are like, how do you know this stuff?
Yeah.
And he said, Shawn, I just do 1 hour when they fall asleep, 1 hour. And I'm like, man.
For me, it'd be 1 hour while they're still sleeping in the morning, never at night for me. Now, I love that you are all about really maximizing in the corporate workspace. You and I were talking beforehand about this event in which you spoke to several hundred business leaders about how they could raise the level of their contracts for working for the state. And so you have this ability to help people elevate in several areas of life. How did you get there? Because you were in music and in entertainment, and then you switched over into this corporate life. So how did that prepare you and take you into the corporate life?
Well, part of my story after music was that, I went more towards corporate, but it was in film and television. And when I did post-production sound for television commercials like The Matrix. I worked on shows like South Park, cartoon shows like Yu-Gi-Oh! And One Piece. And when you're working on these projects, these are multi-million-dollar projects, right? And you have clientele who are used to getting things done right. And that experience, being in that space and having to deal with all these big wigs, showed me how to prepare properly. And this is really key to everything that I do and things that I teach. The well-prepared are the people who win, right? It's not, I'm not doing.
Let's just say that again, because that's just one of those quotable moments that we'll put in the show notes again. So the well-prepared people.
The well-prepared people are the people who win. It's not that I can jump higher than my coworker or, I know how to ice skate or whatever. It's because I prepare well. And when you, preparing well means that you are, you're preparing yourself for things. What if something goes a little left tomorrow?
Yeah.
What if my client comes in, he missed his breakfast or she, missed the first car that was supposed to bring her, and she walks in and she's just not in a good mood, right? So it's my job to be able to handle that in a way where, I'm smiling, I'm welcoming. How can I help? Guess what? I'm going to give you 3 options for what we're working on today. And they go, oh, so many times I've had my clients say, Shawn, thanks for that. You saved us today.
Yeah.
They literally say, you saved us today. And I don't, I don't do it in front of their client. I do it on the side, right? Because that's this teamwork, right? When my client wins, we all win. I continue getting them as a client, they keep their client, right? And I make sure I do that in a way where it's like, don't embarrass them. I'll slide somebody a sticky note and let them shine before I shine, because when my client wins, I win.
I love this. And one of the themes I see in overall what you do and what has made you so successful as a public speaker is that you prepare like crazy. So in the rap environment, you prepared even the story of memorizing that entire rap so that you could be ready to amaze people at any point in time. Plus you had the skill for it. Yeah, I can memorize it, still not do it. I memorized the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles rap when I was like 15, but I couldn't do anything with it because I had no skill. You had the skill and the preparation. And then you did that in this entertainment life, and you went into the corporate world and did it there. And you ended up going into software development. So talk about just one train to another. So talk to us a little bit about how you got there and what you learned in the world of software development, and then really even some of the people that maybe you worked with in that process.
Sure.
One of the things I've also seen is you've had these traces of always working with some really interesting people. Even in the entertainment, I think you said that Will Ferrell was one of the people that you worked with.
I worked with Will Ferrell, Will Arnett, Rosie Perez, J.K. Simmons, James Earl Jones. I've worked with, many people, Tyler Perry. To answer your question, it's going into software development happened because of the 2008 recession. My post-production sound industry, the work dried up for a long moment. Yeah. And after a while, I needed to gain more consistent work. And I just said, I'm going to teach myself how to write CSS and HTML, and I'm going to learn JavaScript. And, this is after research, and I went headfirst. And before you know it, I was working for companies like WebMD, Coca-Cola, Home Depot, and helping their teams build software that we all have probably used before. And where there's a will, there's a way. You have to make sure you're asking yourself the right questions, right? What environment do I want to be in? What does my skill set work well with, right? I'm very good at preparing and making sure that if something goes left or right, I can still complete the job seamlessly.
Yeah,
that is one of my gifts, right? And I tell people the least amount of times my name is said on a team, the better. Because my superiors are like, wow, this stuff is just happening. It's good. My client's happy, and there's no hiccups, right? And of course, it's possible to have hiccups, but my goal is to do this seamlessly. I don't want to constantly say, hey, I'm running late. Hey, the dog ate my whatever,
Yeah.
No, you get there 20 minutes early or 30 minutes early. And if you're there too early, go get yourself a coffee, right? But be well prepared so you're not walking into a room and frantically trying to find out how to gel with your team.
So, I just got to pause right here because I work, with so many communicators and corporate people, and I tell people, hurry up and then wait. Hurry up and then wait. So do everything with this anticipation that it's got to be done now. Don't procrastinate, do it now, and then wait. And the more time that you have to wait, the more creativity shows up. If you have a week to prepare a presentation for your whatever company or whatever event, and you start the first day, and then other great ideas come up along the way, you can add them in. If you start the last day, you have no time to add them all in. And I love what you're talking about. You're creating this margin for excellence by your preparation.
Absolutely. So I always encourage that. Especially in the space of software development, which all major companies have to do. I mean, that's the world we're in right now. I'm all about letting my team members know what I said to you before, right? If you win, we all win, right? Which means if our supervisor is going to come in and question you on something and I know about it, I'm going to give you a heads up so you can be well prepared to answer those questions, right? Because it's when you're at a company, although you get hired individually, when someone on your team falls or fails, it's a reflection on the team.
Yeah.
Period. So you now, we're risking losing the job, right? Right? Which not only puts your coworker out, it puts you out if we lose the job, right? So I talk about how to be a seamless team member, and then how to always add to what you're doing, knowledge-wise. And you don't always have to talk about it, but just suck up the knowledge like a sponge. We're working on this, but I learned how to do it with this software, or I know that our competitors use this. We might not be using it, but I just looked into what they're using, and maybe we want to consider X, Y, and Z, right? And that way, when you're in your meetings, you might be like, whenever it comes up, say, I know what they use, and what they've been doing is this. Maybe we can have an advantage by doing X, Y, and Z, right? And it's always that research and just keeping yourself motivated. If we don't try to find out new things, we won't be motivated, because you'll already be the master of what you already know.
And so much of what you're saying is tracking together. And I love that about your life, is that there's this balance, there's this preparedness. And one of the things I'm seeing in here is this propensity for you to not care about credit. That there's that great quote that says, it's amazing what you can get done when no one cares who gets the credit. And I was just even reflecting there how when you were in your rapping years, that there was a lot of you doing things for people and not getting credit for it. And just even seeing some things where you were on that same stage with Jay-Z, and there's some actually other younger rappers that now have this credit to you that they had great success, and they say, man, it was, in retrospect, Shawn was a huge part of that. I saw that in that documentary. And then you went into this film and entertainment, and I went and watched the trailer for Matrix, and it doesn't say it unless you look for it really hard, but you put together that original trailer for the music and all of the sounds. And then around that same time, you ended up rapping for a cartoon, and you really hit the credit on that. And before we get too far, let's come back to that in a moment, and maybe you can give us a little bit of that story, because it's fun. It's fun for anybody listening, and we can maybe hear a little bit of your talent. But then you did a whole bunch there, and you didn't necessarily get the credit because you were helping people. And that's what you do now as corporate training. You're there and you're helping them lift up. And for all the managers and leaders out there, if you're thinking through how you can raise people up, regardless of the credit that they may or may not ever give to you, it's going to be a win-win situation. You're going to know that you do more in life. And that's what Shawn is demonstrating so well here, that it's not about you.
Absolutely. I think, everything you said is well said. And the thing is this: if you're doing good work, if there are a minimal amount of hiccups in your chain, right? Even if you don't get the initial credit, somewhere along the line, maybe later, someone's gonna realize, okay, Shawn was behind there, Greg was behind there, Susan was on that team, and never asked for anything, like just got it done. And that's where the amazement comes in, right? Where people are like, wow, how did you do that? right? One of the things is I tell people, and I think it's something that all of us, we don't realize, you're in your history making. It has begun. You don't pick a date when you say, I'm gonna make history starting September something. You're in it. So whatever company you're at now, whoever you manage or supervise right now, these projects people are working on, this is the history, right? So you make good products, right? And you work on a world-class level. And you will see one day, if you've done all these things, that your product is now being talked about. Your work is now being talked about 4 years later, 5 years later, 10 years later. Yeah. You were making history. That you don't pick the date, you're in it right now.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, if you think about a Jeff Bezos or you think about Elon Musk, they were doing what they're doing when no one was watching.
Yep.
And really, that success is not when you see it. Success is everything you do along the way. It's a daily activity. I love that. That's incredible. Well, I know you talk to a lot of groups, and I'll put in your contact information there and your speaker agency so people can get a hold of you. Cool. If they are thinking, man, this sounds like a great fit. And I know you've talked to all kinds of different organizations. So I do want to celebrate that and promote that here on the podcast as well.
Awesome.
But tell us a little bit about maybe some of the main themes that you like to come back to again and again. So say, for example, when you are speaking at, I don't know, I think you were showing me some of the different things, some corporate offices or an association, or even a Comic-Con because of that. Yep. Because of that video that we'll come back to. We'll come back to that. Stay online because we'll come back to it. And maybe we'll have them wrap a little bit too. But what is it that people hear? What is it people walk away with when they're listening to Shawn Conrad?
How to be excited about the craft that you're doing. Okay. When people feel like they're just coming in to punch a clock, right? So they can grab a check. You don't get heartfelt passion about what they're doing. They have to feel involved, right? Which will take them to feeling invested, right? And they will get curious about, how do I raise my level, right? So it's when you listen to me, I am all about that adrenaline to take your craft up. Right. To take your craft up to the next level and not feel like you're punching the clock, and know that when you do that, although you don't get instant gratification, that you are building a foundation that is not a rock, but a mountain to stand on. It will be a mountain to stand on, because eventually somebody's going to say, wow, who organized all this stuff? We didn't even tell you to do it, right? And you're that person who's like, you know what? These things need dates on them because we have no idea when they were recorded, right? And you just say, you know, I'm going to do that. You get a phone call. Somebody says, do you remember what we did July, blah, blah, blah. You know, it was a Thursday. I can't remember the guy's name. And you look and you say, it was David such and such. It was a 2:30 session. The job number is this. You just blew somebody's mind. It's like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for keeping track of that, right? And all of a sudden, you'll see things that you never even imagined. That's how it is. You work, you don't ask for anything, you do what you do, you take it up another level, and you will be blessed with things that you can't even imagine yet.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, and we could talk about so much more because there's so much more that you and I have already covered beforehand that you do and have done. So I'll put in your contact information for sure so people can reach out to you or to your agency. Absolutely. to book something or to do something, or even just whatever it is that there might be some synergy. One of the things Absolutely. I love is that there's times where obviously you're building a business relationship, but sometimes you're just building personal relationship. And so maybe there's even some people who want to reach out just in kind of a personal level. I know that you would appreciate that, and that you're very open to your fans because you have fans. And so going back to a time when you were in film entertainment, there's this cartoon that was happening. And this is a fun story and people can research it because it's all over the place. So let's end with this kind of fun thing for other people who have been listening at my little teasers, and tell us a little bit about the pirate rap.
Okay, so here's how I'll tell it. It's a pretty wonderful story that took a while. So I used to work at 4Kids Entertainment, and I was a post-production sound engineer there. So I recorded the actors, and I did the final sound for all these shows. These shows include Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Winx, One Piece, and others. So when my company got the show One Piece, they wanted to do something new, something different for the English dub version of One Piece. And they said, we should try to add a rap to the theme intro of it. So I was called upon because at the time I was working on a personal gospel rap album, and they knew that I knew how to rap. They didn't know that I already rapped with Jay-Z, the Notorious B.I.G., and all that stuff. They had no idea. So they asked me to do this rap. They gave me a skeleton structure of what they wanted me to say. And I did this rap. I did the rap and went back to post-production sound. Fast forward 15 plus years, over time, I was getting emails saying, hey, Shawn, can I interview you? The One Piece cartoon brought me to your YouTube page. And I'm thinking, how do people know that it's me rapping on One Piece, you know? And then another email comes, hey, you're a legend. Can I interview you? And I'm saying, you want to interview me for One Piece? So I look online, One Piece, my rap has been viewed, right now it's at 3 million views on one video. If you look up One Piece pirate rap on YouTube, there will be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of posts that have my rap on it with people singing it at corporate events and all this stuff, people memorizing it. And I'm talking about adults, not kids.
I saw it. I was astounded. I was great.
It's amazing. Gilbert Godfrey did my rap online. I mean, it's amazing. So I realized after 15 or so years that the rap that I did for One Piece raised a generation of people. And it was so humbling. My daughters were here when I posted this video about me doing the One Piece rap because I just wanted to put out some more YouTube content. The day I posted it, comicbook.com, a CBS company, put out an article about me posting my experience doing the One Piece rap. They put it out like an hour after I put out my post. And I started getting thousands and thousands and thousands of people saying, legend, you're a legend. My sister played your rap for my 8th birthday party. I grew up on it. I still remember it. I still say your rap at work. And it, you can't help but to get teary-eyed because I didn't know. I've been living, for these 15 to 17 years, doing my corporate stuff, speaking. I didn't know that something I did way back then has touched so many people. And that comicbook.com would say, One Piece rapper breaks his silence. That was the headline of their article. And it just went bananas. So that's the story. I get a lot of messages that say legend, and I'm humbled and grateful.
That's great. That's so fun. And it really works best when you get to see what's happening on the screen as well. But I know you've even woven in some rap into different events that you do, if it fits, of course. So it's so fun, man. It's so fun just to hear about. And I love the freestyle and stuff that you do. Of course, now it's in the corporate realm, and so interesting to see what has been dormant even as you've been going into these more environments, first as a software developer and then trainer and now speaker. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
I was just going to add one more thing to what you're saying. The good thing about all these different experiences I have is the employees at all these companies, right? They have lives where they're listening to these raps or they're fans of One Piece, and people want somebody they can relate to.
Yeah.
Okay. So when I'm speaking, I'm not just speaking from, the corporate rooftop. I'm speaking as somebody who knows, hey, I relate to you. I relate to you no matter what your gender is, no matter what your color is. I relate to you because I've had to fight through the things that you're fighting through right now. How do I land this job? How can I be successful here, right? And that's the attraction, right? I have the music background, I have the television and such background. That's just so you can do anything. You can do anything that you put your mind to. If you want to be a rock star at this company, talk to me, right? Because you can do it. Do not underestimate yourself, So yeah, I just wanted to drop that nugget in. That's part of my energy, and it is an energy. It's an experience.
Yeah.
When I'm coming here, this is not, connect the dots. We have a speaker, it says this, and I learned this when I was in blah, blah, blah. No, here's how I did it, and look where it took me. And you're right at the beginning, and you can do the same.
Ah, man, that's great. This is so fun, Shawn. And you and I have had some conversations before, and it's easy just to keep on going here. But I love that we were able to cover so much today, and you're talking about all these different areas. As mentioned, I'll put your contact information in the show notes on YouTube, as well as the podcast, so people can get a hold of you that way. And you're easy to get a hold of online, so people can go to ShawnConrad.com and check you out as well, or look you up on YouTube. And I highly recommend people looking up the Pirate Rap as well. And it's a one-piece pirate rap.
One-piece pirate rap, and they'll all come up.
I love it. And if you were like me, curious, and you want to dive into the Fresco documentary, for me it was like, oh man, I remember this. I remember this season of time and what was happening during the time. So, Shawn, thank you so much. Really appreciate for you.
Thank you, Mike.
Giving you this time to be on the show.
Thank you so much, Mike.
Definitely. And for everybody here, thank you for tuning in, for listening, for downloading the podcast, for watching on YouTube. Make sure to take a moment to like, to subscribe, to share with other people so we can get this out into as many hands as possible. I know that they'll be refreshed, encouraged, just as you were with so much of what was said today. Until next time, this is Mike Acker with Advance.
Thanks for listening to Advance with Mike Acker, a podcast designed to provide an edge for leaders through improving practical leadership skills and increasing confidence in speaking. Mike is a best-selling author and business owner who has helped many leaders increase their skills and their confidence, propelling them to new heights in their personal and professional endeavors. Join an incredible group of professionals taking the steps to become better leaders at connect.stepstoadvance.com. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe so you never miss an episode.